The Dallas Cowboys just gave us a major update on both Jaydon Blue and Mazi Smith and their status for Week 2 versus the New York Giants. Now, this has serious implications for the layout of the team, and we'll give you all the latest Cowboys news right here on Cowboys Digest. Welcome in, everybody. I'm Jace Andrews. I appreciate you tuning in to today's show. I have lots to discuss regarding week number 2 and the status of two key players. Jerry Jones today went on 105.3 The Fan talking about their status, and we got some major updates from him. Before that, though, I want to say a quick thank you to everybody who has been showing love and support on our past couple of videos. We have been absolutely skyrocketing over the past week, and that is thanks in a huge part to you. And with that, we are closing in on 6,500 subscribers. We are 41 away, so if you were looking for daily Cowboys coverage, it's 100% free to go down there and hit that subscribe button. Let's talk about the Week 1 matchup the Cowboys had. It was a loss versus the Philadelphia Eagles. However, as we've talked about in previous videos, a couple different plays here and there, and the Cowboys are walking out there with an upset win on Banner Night in Philadelphia. But unfortunately, that's just not the way it fell. And I think Brian Schottenheimer put it best when he said, there are no moral victories. Like, we played well, that's great, but we didn't win. And that's what matters. And I like his mindset. Hopefully in Week 2, we can get that elusive W that evaded us in Week 1. But there were a couple of key players that were really kind of interesting inactives about an hour before game time. Those two players, the first one being Jaydon Blue. Blue being a rookie from Texas. He is kind of a big deal because of the hype around him, and became an even bigger deal when Miles Sanders fumbled the football inside the red zone. Now, a couple different things. I've heard arguments, well, Miles Sanders set a 50-yard run. Like, what about that? I agree, but it was more the blocks than anything else, and if it's Jaydon Blue, he scores on that run. Like, it's a touchdown. He finds the hole, hopefully, as long as he does, and he's beating out Zach Bond. Zach Bond is not going to catch Blue. He caught Miles Sanders. So he's a big inactive, and we got a little update on him. Also inactive was Mazi Smith. These were two kind of interesting late inactives for the Dallas Cowboys. That's just why the question was asked today on 105.3 The Fan. What exactly is the plan for them in Week 2? Are they going to be available? Are they in the game plan? Really is the quite honest question. And he basically said that there's kind of it's up in the air still, is really the main thing. But here's the quote that he kind of had on Jaydon Blue saying, quote, his status may have him ready to go in Week 2, but he still needs to crack that lineup. Now, he does expect Mazi Smith to remain inactive, which the more and more we see Mazi Smith not active for a game when first-round pick just a couple years ago, the more and more I believe he is destined to be moved or traded or maybe even just cut at this point. I mean, there's really no point to keep him on. The defensive line looked fine without him. I don't think he was, going to add anything to the defensive line, especially now with Kenny Clark on there. So we'll see about that. But with Jaydon Blue, I want to focus more on him in this video because I think it's an interesting way that Jerry Jones put that. He still needs to crack the lineup. Okay, so is he saying the reason that Jaydon Blue is not playing is because he's not up there? He's not level 2 yet? Like, is he saying Jaydon Blue is third on the depth chart and behind Miles Sanders? That kind of seems to be the overarching theme. We go to Cowboys head coach Brian Schottenheimer. He talked about Jaydon Blue being inactive yesterday, and he said that he's extremely talented, but you have to earn your chance to get out there, and that he has to be consistent. And so, I mean, I know a lot of the fans, and me included, want to see Jaydon Blue, but I find it very interesting the way the Cowboys are speaking about him is not he was inactive because of the nagging ankle injury. Obviously, that is something to keep in mind, and that maybe if he played throughout training camp and preseason, that he would have been able to be out there in Week 1. But the bigger reason, they're not quoting an injury. They're not quoting, too much. Now, Jerry Jones mentioned it, but the main reason was he has to crack the lineup, and Brian Schottenheimer said he needs to be consistent. He needs to earn those chances, and so what is it going to take for Jaydon Blue to earn those chances and to get out there on the field? Well, I think that first starts with Javonte Williams because I think he had a way better game than really anybody was expecting from him. In fact, we had a quote here from head coach Brian Schottenheimer saying, quote, overall, Javonte played the game the right way. If you watch him, he showed how physical he is as a runner, but also ran a speed sweep and his blocking prowess. I'm excited about what Javonte brings to our offense, end quote. which is very true. Javonte Williams played very spectacular, and I think is a little bit of a reason that they're not really too pressed to get Jaydon Blue, good reps right away. I think at the beginning of the training camp time and in preseason a little bit, it was, we want to have Jaydon Blue ready in case Javonte is, not fit for this. But 15 carries, 54 yards. I mean, he was a very good running back in his rookie season, but so before injuries kind of derailed his career, he also had a couple of receptions for 10 yards and 2 touchdowns in this game as well. So I think that is a big portion as to why they're not like, we're going to play Jaydon Blue, we're going to get him out there. Like, why in some ways? Because you have your bell cow back in some aspects, but I just continue to ask the question, is Miles Sanders at this point in his career really better than what we can see from Jaydon Blue? Like the speed and the growth of Jaydon Blue is less important than getting Miles Sanders reps out there because we think he is deserving of them. Like I want to go back to that play that we saw, and he got caught by Zach Bond, but it was the fumble right after it, and that was such a huge blow. Now, I think there was a couple of different things, and you kind of forget what happens in the game, but he ran that 50-yarder, got down. First play after that, it was a 3-yard rush up the gut. Unfortunately, though, George Pickens grabbed the face mask of one of the Eagles defenders. I can't remember who it was at this point, but threw him down on the ground. That caused the 15-yard penalty. The Cowboys then proceeded to get really nothing, and then a in-zone pass to Jake Ferguson, in which he got shellacked and got an unnecessary roughness on the Eagles defense, 15 yards back, and then the play right back from that original line of scrimmage, and it was bang, a fumble from Miles Sanders. And I think that has to open up the door. And even the play that he got caught on, it's kind of wild to think about that Jaydon Blue would get caught in that situation. Mauricio Rodriguez of A to Z Sports quote, however, that big play would have been a touchdown had he not been caught by Eagles linebacker Zach Bond, who was out of the box at the snap. Later, Sanders fumbled. Keep in mind, Sanders playing 0 special team snaps, so activating Blue over him next weekend would be an easy fix. We'll see how quickly the Cowboys react to the running back situation. Seems to be not that quickly at all. And it continues to go back to the point of Miles Sanders is more or less a roadblock right now for the Dallas Cowboys, and I don't think provides any effectiveness to this team. You can see all you want, and that 50-yard rush was great. However, if you look at the run, it was more about the blocks than anything else. He hit the hole and found it. Now, running backs have to be able to hit the hole, but if you were an NFL caliber running back, most of the time you're able to find that, especially in that play, moving the entire offensive line to the left. He was just kind of putting his hand on the back of his lineman, trying to find that little spot, found the crease, and cut it. But Zach Bond, who was on the literal other side of the field, came back and caught him. And Jaydon Blue, I don't care what you say, he doesn't get caught in that situation. If you watched him at all in Texas, the breakaway speed would get him past, and it'd be a touchdown. And we'd be talking probably a different story right now. I mean, we could easily be talking about how the Cowboys just upset the Philadelphia Eagles. But instead, it's where we sit right now and the question surrounding the running back room. And, this is where I ask the question of, what would you rather see in week 2? Would you rather see Jaydon Blue over Miles Sanders? Let me know down in the comments section. If you want to see Jaydon Blue, type J. If you want to see Miles Sanders, I want you to type M in the comment section. I just want to get a feel. Maybe I'm off balance here and don't have a feel for it. Maybe you want to see more Miles, but let me know down in the comment section. You know my opinion. I want to see Jaydon Blue. I think he 100% deserves the spot over Miles Sanders. I think the speed, the athleticism, and this is the biggest thing to me. He is a rookie. I mean, give him the reps. Let him grow. Miles Sanders, at best, is here for a year. You're not signing him back next season, especially if Javonte Williams plays this well. I think you're going to try and extend him. So in that light, why are you wasting your time, basically, on trying to get Miles Sanders right or all this? And it makes really little sense to me when you also think about the fact that Phil Maffa is going to be back here soon as well. Like, it's very intriguing when Phil Maffa comes back. Is he going to the practice squad? I don't think so. I think he gets put on the active roster, which at that time, I think that's when Miles Sanders, sayonara, goodbye. Like, it's not going to be him anymore. So that's just my thought. But That is our question of the day. A couple of house cleaning things here at the very end of today's video. Perion Winfrey, remember he was injured in practice in week 1, did not play in the week 1 matchup against the Philadelphia Eagles. It was originally listed as just back tightness, and now he has been put on the injured reserved list, so not going to see him for at least the next 4 weeks. Kind of funny because Perion was a very interesting 53-man roster guy, because originally he was cut, and then a lot of people were like, no, and then all of a sudden he wasn't cut, so it was a weird thing, but now he's just injured for the next 4 weeks, and defensive tackle honestly looked pretty decent. You want to have depth there, but he's going to be on the IR, so you won't have him for the next 4 weeks. But that's what we got for you here today on Cowboys Digest. We'll keep you updated with all the latest news, information, and updates. Got shorts, live streams, and all the stuff coming up, so make sure you're sticking around for all that. But we're going to see you next time. For now, we'll see you next time. Peace out.